Hello to the side and back, my name is Toki Uzuru, also known as Toki, and in today's video I am going to be talking about things that I've learned this year 2021. Now of course this list is going to be things that I've personally learned, or at least grasped the concept of this year. And while some are definitely useful, me bringing them up can help other people, others are just very personal to me. First thing that's on the list is learning stuff on your own is hard, especially when you're used to structure. Now, earlier in the year, I wanted to learn how to read, write, and speak Japanese. And the way I went about it, it didn't really help me with the way I typically learn things. So this time I decided to make a system that would actually work for the way I learn things. The second one kind of piggybacks off the first one. Different learning styles also mean different practice rates or practice frequencies. I'm a person that has to practice something every day and see tangible evidence that I'm getting better in order to keep me motivated to continue to practice things. Which also means when I hit a roadblock where there's something that I'm not grasping, I am more likely to be unmotivated to continue until I get past the thing. But I start trying and trying and trying again, and there comes to a point where I'm at a stalemate and I just drop the thing entirely. The guitar that I have sitting right there is my main piece of evidence of if I'm stalemated by anything, I will immediately drop it because I don't see any type of progress. And that surprisingly well actually transitions us into the third thing on the list, which was visible progress keeps me motivated. As we said with the guitar example, there is a point that I stopped at because I couldn't grasp the concept. My hand-eye coordination wasn't working at that moment and nothing was getting done. I was seeing no progress even though I was still practicing at the same rate and honestly more. And although I was having to deal with whatever sacrifices that came with, I was never able to reap the benefits of said sacrifices. I was destroying the tips of my fingers for minimal recompense. And I just decided to stop there. Number 4, knowing something and understanding something are two totally different things. This typically happens with simple things that are simple to explain, but not simple to actually do. It's the easier said than done thing. Okay, all I have to do is just grasp the concept of changing chords. We're still talking about the guitar because it's right there. And as easy as it sounds, and as I have the chords memorized, I know where to put my fingers, I cannot change chords quickly because my brain still needs time to process where my fingers went. Fifth one, timers and alarms are very useful if used correctly. I tend to lose track of time a lot, which means something that could have just taken me about 10 minutes, if I'm completely distracted, is going to take me a good, on average, 30 minutes, depending on what it is and what's distracting me. Number 6, if you have an ivy plant, basically English ivy, curly locks ivy, any type of variegated ivy, they like humidity, and if you take hot showers, or at least warm showers, it's probably best for you to bring your ivy into the bathroom with you. But that's if the place that you have the ivy in isn't already like high humidity. Number 7, optimize your space and time to be able to work better. And when I say better, I mean more efficiently. This one was specifically something that, although I learned a long time ago, I was able to consciously be aware that I learned it just recently. But putting systems in place to make sure that you actually get the things that you need to get done. Like, let's say you need to set a timer because you need to go do something in one room while you're doing something in another room, and you're supposed to wait a certain amount of time. Or setting an alarm to remind you to water your plants, or at least check on them every so often. Before you do any type of physical body change, it is best to emotionally and mentally check in first. Of course, although I knew this for a long time, as I said earlier, knowing something and understanding something are two totally different things. Although I knew this information, I didn't think it applied to me until I was actually going through the thing this year specifically and finally understood what it meant. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I made an entire video that talked about this specific situation, and it will be right there. Next, there is a balance between reality or real life and imagination, or what I would like to call dream life. I ended up seeing this picture, this one right here. There's like people who live in their imaginary worlds are usually very happy, while people who only live in reality are not as happy. And I, for one, believe that is absolutely true. So I tried to find a decent balance between going into dream world or maladaptive daydreaming and still being grounded in reality. Like understanding what's going on around me. Next one, active meditation. I've already done a video on that one. Moving on. Self-care and self-love, it's lowering the amount of stress that not only present you has to deal with, but future you will have to deal with. So whether that is pampering yourself with like an at-home spa day, or making that appointment that you said you were going to make like 2 days ago. Next, I actually learned how to read subtitles faster, like significantly faster. I've been watching more English subtitled animes, which has been helping with this, but I also just put the subtitles on anyway so I can read along. And like a bit of branching off of that one, some animes just need discussion time. Like some animes just require discussion time, and whether that is to process what just happened in a particular arc or in a particular episode, or just talking it over, whether that be with yourself because you don't know what went on, or with someone else who has either been watching it with you or has watched it before. Next one, if music can change the mood or vibe that I'm feeling at that moment, then I should definitely use it more in my spiritual practice. Next, nothing is inherently good or bad, just helpful or harmful for the individual, because we make choices based off of our experiences. Next one, short-term solutions are actually useful, but still only short-term. Sure, this one thing is going to help you now, but now we have to figure out what's going to help you out later on or in the long run. Next, allowing myself time to be a kid now is healthier than if I didn't decide to do it at all. Because one of the things that I'm learning is that I didn't really have time to be a child because I was so worried about things that a child shouldn't have been worried about in the first place. And now I'm allowing myself to be said child. However, it is also recommended that if you decide to do this, that you would know that there's a time and place for everything. You can't always be in that childlike mindset. Also, branching off of that, watching shows and movies that you watched as a child, like watching it later on in life, gives you a good idea on how you truly feel about it now, and you might also see it through a different lens. Same goes for any type of activity that is looked as a child's activity. Trying things out and then just randomly dropping them is okay. I have a guitar that every time I looked at it, I would feel shameful that I spent so much money on something and I am not using it right now. Because I originally bought it so I could learn how to play guitar. But, of course, as I said at the beginning of this video, stalemate, just dropped it entirely, and now I'm unmotivated. So trying things out in general is okay, and then just dropping them because maybe it wasn't the right time, the right feel for you. Maybe you have to find something else that's like similar but not the exact same thing. Maybe you want to go about it a different way. And last but not least, I will be using this channel as well as my other social medias, which will be linked in the description box below, to document my life. All the pleasant experiences and life lessons that I learned along the way. Don't worry, it will still be like filtered and selected, and it's not too different from what I've already been doing. But like, this is me putting intention behind it as well, because now I have an idea of what I wanted to do. But next week's video is going to basically start, I don't know, like a get to know me series. And that is the end of the list, which means this is the end of the video. I wanted to create a list of lessons that I've finally understood in 2021. But I probably should have like written them down as I've gotten to the aha moments and finally understood them, because I know for an absolute fact that there are some lessons that I've learned or unconsciously learned that I don't remember anymore, and I don't like that. But other than that, we should be getting into the stereotypical YouTuber outro, where I, as a stereotypical YouTuber, would ask you to do the following. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Hit the notification bell to be notified of whenever I post. Any type of questions, comments, concerns, or ideas for future videos can be put into the comment section down below. And with that being said, my name is Tokika Uzuru, also known as Toki, and this is Toki saying happy holidays.